fan channels, you either love them or you hate them. You pretend you don't know who they are in front of your mates because you're too embarrassed. But regardless, they are now a huge part of football media. But the big question is, have fan channels taken over mainstream football punditry? When you mention fan channels, so many people just think of Troops and DT for Arsenal Fan TV moaning about Arsene Wenger being at the club, or that Scouse lad at Anfield going on about Sadio Mane.
Why are you laughing for? Chris, why are you laughing for?
There's so many clips, there's so many memes, and they've given us so many good memories. It was unfiltered, it was raw, there was just no thought going into it, it was just pure emotion. But they've evolved, haven't they? Fan channels, they're calculated now, they know exactly what they're doing. They're like media production companies. You've got analysis, tactical breakdowns, interviews with players and managers, live shows, podcasts, everything. Some of these fan channels are doing proper media, and I think you can make the argument they are starting to take over the proper media. I mean, let's just be honest with mainstream football punditry. It is dying, isn't it? Half the time it feels like they're turning up, saying the same old phrases, and just heading home at half time. There's always going to be people who love hearing the ex-players talk. Man United fans will love hearing, I don't know why, but love hearing Rio Ferdinand talk about the game. Liverpool fans will hang on to every word that Jamie Carragher's saying. That's never going to go away, and nor should it, because a lot of these players know 10 times more than the game than we'll ever know. But you have to admit, a lot of the time, it's the other team wanted it more, they didn't try hard enough, the game has changed, and why isn't the game the same when I played it? And that's just basically Roy Keane. And me personally, I'm tired of having my intelligence insulted by these pundits who they feel like they don't have to put any effort in at all, do they? You don't need to know all the stats. You don't need to watch every single game one player has ever played in their entire life. But just to give off-the-cuff opinions that literally offer no tactical analysis at all, I feel like the bar is so low at the moment that a lot of people in YouTube and other spaces, they are just jumping over it. And like I say, that is where fan channels step into it. Let's talk about probably the biggest one, you could argue, and that is Mark Goldbridge. Look, he's not for me. He plays a character, and he's doing it well, isn't he? Because, I mean, he's on TalkSport, literally playing a personality. He's over the top, he does reactions and everything like that, and regardless of what I think of him, you can't deny he is entertaining. But I think more importantly, he's consistently entertaining, isn't he? He does watch-alongs, he does transfer news, match reactions, tactical breakdowns, kind of, and his numbers are just absolutely insane. The Europa League final, he got 1.4 million people that tuned into his live stream.
That fucking goalkeeper! You may as well have the Statue of Liberty in goal!
1.4 million people, that is insane, and it doesn't matter if someone came for 2 minutes, because let me just tell you this, Sky Sports viewing figures, BBC viewing figures, they're not all people who are watching it for 2 or 3 hours. But the main things that he does are watch-alongs, and I think that is an opportunity that YouTube has massively capitalised on over the last 5 to 10 years. Redmen TV do it, Arsenal Fan TV does it, Mark Goldbridge does it. There's so many people who do it so regularly, and the reason why this has become so big is because Soccer Saturday died. I mean, if you're a young lad, probably in your early teens, you won't have experienced the prime Soccer Saturday. But good lord, if you didn't have access to watch a game, you know, no one has those dodgy fire sticks, wink wink, but you could watch Soccer Saturday and it was just, you felt like you were watching a game. They all just gelled together so well. And I think that is what they just completely took for granted. Look, you can say whatever you want about the way they got rid of some of those people. I personally don't think it was all okay, and I think they just forced this new casting for no reason. So what actually did happen? I think Sky panicked in the new modern era, and I think they needed to be all hip. They looked at all of these blokes in their 50s, 60s and thought they're old fashioned, no one wants to watch them anymore. But because that, the soul had just completely vanished and it didn't feel raw. It felt like a marketing team in a boardroom just hand selected all of these people that no one cared about. And that is why I think fan channels took over, because it was a bunch of mates like Soccer Saturday. Arsenal Fan TV at the start, they all knew each other from going to the games. Look, you can put me down in a room with loads of people I don't know. The chemistry's not going to be there watching a football game. And call it what you want, if I like him or not, I'd rather see Mark Goldbridge do a ridiculous reaction to Man United losing than Chris Boyd just updating me on Soccer Saturday. What about analysis though? Because fan channels, some of them can't recreate what some ex-footballers have in the mainstream football media, can they? When it comes to top level insight into the game, I do not want to hear a lad who has barely played the game tell me what it's like to play football. I want to hear Thierry Henry go on about it. I want to hear Thierry Henry tell me what it's like to play in a Champions League final. That is the thing I will say till I am blue in the face. I do not like Roy Keane as a pundit, but as a media personality and him giving me insights into what it is like to be a professional footballer, he's the best at it because one, he's unfiltered and he doesn't really care what he's going to say, and two, he's played literally at the highest level you can ever play at. I don't know what it's like to be in a changing room at half time 2-0 down in an FA Cup final, but these ex-pros do, and that is why fan channels will never, ever, ever replace that. A great example is Kasper Schmeichel when he was on Stick to Football, and he was saying that he needed to hype himself up, and it's when keepers, they have a go at the defenders, and he was saying, that's because I need to protect myself and make it seem like I don't ever make any mistakes. But the only thing with that, I do think that is a rare case. I think unless they are on an hour or 2 hour long podcast, if I'm watching Monday Night Football or Saturday Night Football, whatever you want to watch, they're not doing that. They're not giving me great insight into how they would feel in this moment. Because one, I think half of them are blinded by nostalgia and just can't wrap their head around the modern footballer. And two, a lot of them just don't seem that bothered. Harry Maguire is a great example, isn't he? He has been under so much scrutiny, some deserved, some not deserved. And someone like a Roy Keane, the incident in 2002 in Saipan, he was under so much scrutiny as well. So surely he could give an insight into what it does to your mind, because none of us will ever know that. Having the national media, in his case Ireland, in Harry Maguire's case England, just hammering you, then it must be such, it's just a unique experience. But unfortunately, I don't think Roy ever tried to share his experience and compare it to Maguire's. Look, at halftime, I don't want someone breaking down the game. Just quick reactions and that's completely fine. But one, just make it a bit more well thought out. But two, after the game, you want to see it broken down in a more in-depth way. And I just don't think they do that at the moment. But then you compare it to YouTube or social media or whatever, Tifo Football and The Athletic, they do it brilliantly. If you are into stats and the detail part of the game, then watch those guys. James Lawrence Allcourt, he's one of the most high-profile YouTubers. He works for the Premier League, and he breaks down the game brilliantly. It's a tiny bit too stat-orientated for me, but I can at least appreciate that he's put so much work into it. And I think the thing that you can completely see with these YouTubers, passion. They have passion about what they're talking about. I just don't think a lot of these pundits do. Now, let's be honest, something that YouTubers, podcasters will never have, or at least at the moment, is the access to clubs. Because at the end of the day, we all want to hear from, well, for the most part, the interesting footballers. And all of these YouTubers, they have to jump through hurdles to get them. Whereas, if you are Gary Neville, Dele Alli's going through a tough time, yeah, come on the Overlap podcast. All of his ex-United mates, yeah, come on my podcast. Under the Cosh, for example, brilliant kind of Football League podcast. They can get all the ex-pros because, you know, they're mates with them. And they feel comfortable talking about stuff with them because they've been through similar experiences. There'll definitely be an arrogance, and I kind of get it because Arsenal players, why would they want to go talk to Arsenal fan TV? They've probably been slagged off 10 billion times in the videos. And also, it's leverage, isn't it? Gary Neville can speak to whoever he wants, and he's still going to be Gary Neville, ex-Man United legend. A YouTuber's career sometimes can be on the line if they mess up an interview with a player. I tell you what is interesting about these mainstream pundits, because they are trying to catch up with a lot of the social media ability that these YouTubers have. Rage baiting, and that is a taboo word in just the media nowadays, because essentially it's making people angry, so they'll engage with your post and it gets pushed out further and further and further. I don't like when YouTubers do it, I don't like when pundits do it, but alas, here we are. However, I think pundits, they don't know how to do it as well as people on social media. Call it what you want. YouTubers, podcasters, they know what they're doing. They know how to get people annoyed watching the videos. They know how to get people to come back to the channel. On the flip side, I don't think these ex-pros really know how to do it. Because one, I believe they're getting told to do it from the producers. And two, it just feels so fake. Gabby Agbonlahor, one of the best examples. Every word out of his mouth feels like he's got a producer telling him in his ear, say this on the radio because it will get some views. And that is where football punditry could die out, because if these pundits, they need to leverage themselves as the ex-pros. If they try to come down to the YouTubers level, then, I mean, where are we going to be? We're just going to be in a world of Rio Ferdinand trying not to walk on the Real Madrid badge for some social media clout. So have fan channels taken over football punditry? Absolutely not. And I don't think they ever will 100% because there's a generation that just hate them. You know what? That's completely fine. If you don't like them, you don't have to like them. However, you can't deny the platform that people are generating nowadays. A lot of people are moving over to these YouTubers who have never played the game but are so well educated because there is so much more information at our fingertips. Fans, they're more educated than ever because you know, you can listen to a hour-long piece by The Athletic about PSR. Some of it, of course, is rage bait, and that is just boring. I think people are getting more and more wise to it because they are seeing that it offers no value. However, the mainstream pundits are also doing that, and I think people are becoming wise to that as well. You can hate Mark Goldbridge, you can roll your nose up at Arsenal Fan TV, even though their 2020 prime was completely unmatched.
When have I compared fucking Arteta and fucking him? You have. You fucking haven't, man.
But Match of the Day is dying, Soccer Saturday is dying, traditional radio is dying, and this is the way a lot of them are going forward. But that's just my take. You tell me what you think. I'm sure a lot of you will hate fan channels to death, completely fine, and I'm sure a lot of you will love them. You can leave a like on the video, leave a comment. I'm a bit ill, so I've got a bit of a bunged up nose, but yeah, subscribe if you enjoyed, but thanks for watching.